I've fished the Cape Cod Canal for many years now, and I've caught some really nice fish. In fact, still to this day, my personal best striped bass was caught on the canal. It took me a while, however, to learn how to fish the canal, several trips and many days across many weeks, to learn the spots, figure out the tides, understand seasonal trends, and experiment enough to build out an arsenal of lures suitable for the conditions likely to be encountered. To be sure, I'm still learning and presumably always will be. Things are constantly changing and every year is a little different than the previous one. There have been years that my spots simply don't work. Other years they've produced some awesome fish. As all fishermen know, being successful at fishing requires learning a spot, and I don't mean just walking around for a day or cruising it for a bit. Learning a spot requires studying it, requires observation and experimentation, requires spending time at that spot. A lot of time. Across different seasons and different tides and different temperatures and different conditions. The only true way to learn a spot, to understand it, is to put in the time. Many of us would prefer the cheat code to fishing. We want to go to a new spot and start to pull out trophy fish immediately. We have little patience. Some people fish the canal because they have the false impression that catching big fish is easy there. But that's not how God made the world, and it's not how things work generally, and it's certainly not how they work at the canal. Like anything else, if you want to be good at fishing, if you want to be successful fishing the canal, you need to put in the time, and you need to be constantly learning and adapting. There are a seemingly endless number of factors that impact the fishing in a given spot on a given day, but the more time you spend at this spot, the more familiar you are with it, the more likely you'll be able to adapt and be successful. If you are like me, the dilemma with all of this is that you'd like to fish everywhere always, meaning you'd like to fish a lot of different places and be successful at all of those places all of the time. And most of us, myself included, don't have nearly enough time to pull that off. There's always a new place to fish, a new spot to learn, new species to catch, and new lures to try out. We will never be able to fish everywhere all at once. My first time fishing the canal years ago, it took me 5 days to catch a fish. I was fishing in June and theoretically the conditions were good, but I didn't catch fish. I fished both the east and the west sides and many spots in between. No fish. Finally, on the 5th day, hours and hours of fishing later, I finally caught something. My first fish at the canal. Yep, that's it. A 3-inch bunker. Snagged during a bunker blitz that apparently had no bigger fish in it interested in eating my lure. Not sure it even counts, but all the same, that's the first fish I landed along the canal. But like I said at the beginning, bigger and better things were to come as I spent more time on the canal and learned how to fish it. I found spots that I like that are away from the crowds, and the canal has become one of my favorite places to fish. It remains and always will be a challenge, but that's what makes it worthwhile. One final note in closing. A lot of people post videos of themselves catching large fish at the Cape Cod Canal, and I bet when you clicked on this video you weren't expecting it to be about a really tiny fish. But I wanted to switch things up. I hope I kept things interesting for you. As always, thanks for watching.